tractor beam out of commission, or this is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit it!
Hey there, everyone. How's it going?
Good morning.
Good.
Good morning.
So it's morning for us, but it's
good
like
afternoon.
noon for you guys. What? Like
Yeah,
what is
No,
it?
it's 1:30
3
p.m.
o'clock.
my time.
3 o'clock. Oh my god, man.
Almost ready to turn in. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. I'd be kicking back and relaxing by that time. My day's done by noon, so I'm usually like relaxing by then. But
You
My
carry on at
day-
2 a.m.
According to
Yeah, I
Chris,
do all
day
my-
needs limits.
I do all my best work at 4 a.m. So it's like
Don't we all?
I know,
Yeah.
Parminda must be like, these guys are vampires, because whenever he's messaging, if it's 2 a.m., 2 p.m., he's like, do you ever sleep?
yeah. Jason and I are up late a lot.
Yeah.
We're
When I wake up in the morning, I usually see all the messages come through from America.
yeah.
But Jason's usually just there chatting. Just like, yeah, hey,
I'm
dude.
always up, guys. I'm always available.
Yeah. Well, I usually wake up to 4 a.m. phone calls from John. So not lately,
Hey,
but sometimes.
what kid part is this? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, hey guys, we this was we actually just decided this 2 days ago, something like that, to jump on and do the second part to the Chronicles. I kind of forgot about it until I think I was talking to either you or John the other day. Said we got to do this. We got one more to go then. Yeah. How can we forget about Empire? Empire. I mean, in the Chronicles, I think Star Wars takes up the most space in the book, right? Because this
It takes up half the book.
Yeah,
half the book. Okay. Today we're gonna watch the screen. What's on the screen, and not jump ahead.
It's
I'm
almost
already
like
a Jedi.
Yeah, I know you're already a Jedi. They're painting Jedi, so like you're already at that spot.
do you remember being in grade school where it's like, okay, kids, take out your books and turn to page 92? Like, that's what it feels like.
Yep, exactly. Because what happened last time was I was like 4 or 5 pages or even more behind you guys, and I'm like rushing through. But we occupied a lot of space, and there's a lot to talk about. So it kind of maybe is good we rush through some things.
Yeah.
But
I think today we have about 80 pages for
80.
Empire, and I think last time we had almost 150 for A New Hope. So
oh wow,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
well, to give us a little bit more room.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but Jedi Empire is like the ships that I like. That's all the stuff that I really like is in there, other than like Y-Wings and Sandcrawler. But for me, it's Empire's where it's at. That was my favorite movie. That's my favorite ships. Slave
it's
One,
I'm not sure.
AT-ATs.
I'm not sure if it's like all my favorite ships, because there's a couple of things that I really like from Jedi, but you can really tell that while we're kind of finding their way with A New Hope, that they really hit their stride with Empire. Everything just clicked. Like the design language was like set. We understand what we're doing now, and then they started experimenting with like a few of those like offbeat kind of designs, like the Cloud Car, for instance. Just
Very different.
and but it just still it fits. So I really feel like they really found themselves somewhere after A New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything became organic and sort of.
Yeah.
And they went back to a lot of Ralph McQuarrie designs, didn't they, as well? Talking about that sort of.
Yeah.
Plus, they knew it was a big box office smash now, and they got to up their game a little bit.
They had to step it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And Star Wars was finding their way and just like slapsticking it all together as much as possible without really thinking ahead too much. They did, but not like Empire. Definitely not like Jedi.
How many more model makers did they have? Did they double their workforce, do you think?
Oh, yeah, I think for sure.
Yeah. I don't know how many,
On Empire, they definitely brought in a lot more people, right?
They definitely brought in more, but how many?
Remind me if it wasn't between Star Wars and Empire where they moved set locations and they got rid of Dykstra and they kind of brought in the people they wanted.
They moved up
forward.
to was it Van Nuys? No, Marin County. They were in Van Nuys. They moved up to Marin
Yeah.
County. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when they were giving people the kibosh and adding people to the team and whatnot.
Because like in Star Wars, it was just, hiring people they could. In Empire, they kind of weeded out the guys that were like not team players or.
Yeah, Star Wars, it was pretty much anybody who came in. I mean, Lauren at the time, if I remember correctly, watching one of his interviews, was doing, I think he was designing like stuff on McDonald's, like the plate place or something along those lines, and then doing commercial work. And so it's interesting some of the background.
Toilet flush systems and stuff they were designing, weren't they?
It's crazy some of the things that they were doing.
Yeah.
Marvin, is that
And
your
then
cat?
they even got like
Yep.
they even got a guy in just to do like the background buildings for Cloud City, didn't they?
Yep.
There's a
Yep.
specific guy they just got in to do that.
Yeah, a couple of the map painters, Pangraziano. I think one of the guys, his father was big, doing a lot of work for Disney. He came in and did some. Of course, Ralph and Joe. Yeah, it was really interesting seeing the transition from movie 1 to 2. Also, the difference of archive material. Right, it wasn't until Indiana Jones that they developed archive. So a lot of the stuff from Star Wars, it's why we don't see it, whether it's hilts, blasters, etc. It isn't until Empire that they started documenting things and keeping record of things.
And then they
Yeah,
started
it's
only
kind
get
of-
bigger and better with the Avenger, like making it bigger than the normal Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
They actually went smaller with the 5 foot down to like the 32-inch Falcon.
Yeah,
Well,
and,
didn't they-
and that stuff is just as interesting. If you ask me, I think it's just as notable and interesting to learn about.
Didn't they up their game with camera angles too? Because like with the Falcon, they were able to the 32-inch. They made it smaller so they could rotate it and have it flying. In
Yeah,
course,
I think
Yeah.
they learned. I think they learned from a lot of the mistakes in the first movie, right? Because the first movie they just had to pull everything out of their hat and invent it as they went along. I mean, this
Mhm.
stuff was literally being designed in real time. Whether it was the camera work, the computer systems. I mean, you couldn't just go to Best Buy and buy a computer off the shelf. So by the second movie, I think they're a little bit more well versed. And by the time Jedi came around, not only had technology caught up quite a bit, but they were able to implement what they've already worked on and then use outside technology. For example, one of the biggest things that I took note of was the guy who designed, the camera where they did the Endor biker scout scene.
with the speeder bikes getting past.
Yeah, the 60 frames per second, because even though it's been 40 years, you watch that and it's aged very well. It's very believable.
Yeah.
It looks like they're flying through going 150 miles an hour through the forest. It doesn't look cheesy at all.
pretty much everything aged well in Star Wars except for Luke's hairdo. That's about it.
Yeah, that 70s haircut. Other than that,
It's
you're
the
right.
only thing. But all right, so let's get it started. So all right, I'm gonna be able to pinch and zoom on this. So they start with the Star Destroyer, right? So I mean, what a freaking marvel this is to build. I mean, just looking in all the kit parts, like everything in here is kit parts.
Walking into the identities and seeing the rear of that as the first thing you see when you get to the model room
Really,
is breathtaking. You forget about everything else. You just see that.
really.
Because it's just so vast.
How big is this thing now?
It's 8 feet, isn't it?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Empire 1 is 8 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, just thinking about putting all these parts on makes my head spin. I mean, just
Yeah, well, Marvin destroyed me with the Avenger Bridge, so I don't want
Yeah.
to go any further than that.
I mean, you did this. No, not this. You did this part, just the bridge. And I remember talking to you about that while we were doing that. And it was like little tiny parts that you don't believe are cut, like little squares, right? There were things that you're just like, why did they cut it like this?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
are
they
these,
really went up and over with the detail on this. It's just like I think the smallest part that I found is like literally 2 millimeters in length and width, which is incredible.
how do you ID something like that? There's got to be like
Yeah.
some specific like indentation or
Yeah,
Well,
zoom
I
in.
mean,
If
I
you-
can't claim any of the IDs really, but the fact that having all those boxes open in front of you,
yeah.
and
Really
all the
helps.
ships, the 1700 ships, your mind does kind of work where you can recognize stuff.
I mean, to ID a piece that small, it has to have like a wart with a face. You know, like
Yeah. What threw me was the top on the globes. Those Rodney guns that go around. They're Rodney, and
Yep.
but then they got knocked off, and they replaced them with the King George. Is that right? Or
Yeah.
vice versa?
Yeah. Or two parts. I think it was King George and something else. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
pop off so easy too. I mean, you even breathe on them and they pop off.
Yeah.
can I ask you guys a question? How the hell do you guys glue those little pieces on without them sticking to your fingers? Like,
I started using
matter-
tweezers.
even when I
Yeah.
use tweezers, it just pulls right off with the tweezer. Like,
Yeah, but are you using super glue or solvent? Well,
I just recently started using solvent. Like,
Yeah,
when
that-
I got to
no.
the sand crawler, that's when I started using the solvent.
yeah, your
Yeah.
life changes when you use that.
It does
Yeah.
really change.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's why we
Well,
always
I
used to
mean-
want styrene to styrene. No one
Yeah.
wanted resin casts, no one wanted 3D printed stuff because you have to use super glue and it sucks.
Yeah. Super
Now,
glue don't work.
but on these globes, for instance, I mean, those things are 3D printed. At least I 3D printed them because I didn't want to build that out of styrene.
So
So
they
you
scratch
you
it
have to. I think they added little triangles of styrene on a one of those crystal doorknobs. So
Oh.
it's the basic structure is bought, and then they added to it.
Okay.
But to glue something like a little styrene piece, like a Rodney piece, to a resin print, or even if it's the crystal ball, it's just it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
I
only
mean, it
use
looks like
something like CA or something two part epoxy or whatever, but it's just too small for that.
You
Well,
can
they-
get
what-
different CAs that are like thicker, that are a bit more gloopy,
Yeah.
that take longer to set and stuff like that. So it's
I use so if anybody's watching, I recently switched over to black super glue. It has a black rubber component in it, so it's much more sturdy. It's not as brittle as regular CA. Plus, if you glue it on, you can see where you over glued, and then you can use debonder to actually clean it up around it. So
Oh, really?
you actually see where the extra glue is because it's black. So it's my CA game has improved dramatically because of that.
Oh, that's good to know. I remember Lee
That is
Stringer
good to
telling
know.
you about it, but I didn't know you could get the debonder.
Nice.
It's good to know.
Well, I mean, these globes, they look like they're 3D printed already. They got all the supports and everything. So, but all right. I know there's a lot of pictures here of the Star Destroyer. There's quite a few. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. My God. Like zooming in just blows my mind.
All those strands of optics as well.
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
there's
those-
always-
I think the only person that's done it is Julian, isn't it, Marvin? There's actually
Yeah, he did the bridge, I think, and the superstructure, so like the top section. So he didn't do the full body. I think he stopped somewhere there.
because no one's built it accurately. I don't
No.
think. I don't think.
Hey, look
anyone's
at
replicated
look
it.
what that is. Is that our Saratoga in the middle?
Mm, no,
Looks
pretty-
like it.
you're in a world of ship kits that have probably got the same
Yeah.
design to it.
Okay.
In a world of ship.
Yeah, we're in a world of ship.
We could spend the whole hour and a half just looking at all these pieces and just saying, okay, well, that's that.
You know what else is fun about this? And I know we talked about this, Chris. I think last year, right, when you were at the panel for Celebration, was when you get to a point of having to fill in so much void and so much area, there's a lot of like mumbo jumbo in some of those places. Like they have that, that guy who kind of looks like he's drowning, and
Oh yeah, that's fun. I love those little Easter eggs.
those little hidden.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
and technically, like, yeah, they are Easter eggs, but they weren't really meant to be. It was just like, hey, pick whatever you can find to fill this void because nobody's going to actually see it on screen.
Yeah, I remember
It's
asking
detailed down past.
I remember asking some of the more modern ILM guys. It was one of my
I think
questions.
Fawn was on the panel, right?
Yeah, Fawn was on there, and I asked, considering that the old ILMers stuck like army men in there and stuff, did you guys do any of that weird stuff that And I think Evelyn said he put a toilet somewhere in Geonosian. But the other two were like, The other ones are like, no, we were kind of worried about our job, so we didn't do stupid stuff like that.
But that toilet, I think there was a recurring thing, right? Because in Revenge of the Sith, when the two Jedi starfighters fly in, there's a ship that explodes and a piece that hits the other ship. I think that's also like a CG toilet that they actually made. So I think that was like a running gag at
I
Island.
think that was a sink, wasn't it? They said they threw everything
Oh, was
in
it a sink?
with the kitchen sink.
You know,
Yeah.
still a bathroom accessory, but but I think initially during the original trilogy, at least during Empire and A New Hope, I think they were just doing it to fill the void, fill the gaps, like stick in whatever you can. Whereas like later on, it might have been more of a, hey, let's sneak this in for fun, or
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine the time it takes for like if even the four of us tackled this and started building it, like, and they did it very quickly too.
The only thing I can say about that is that this is going to be a silly thing to say, really, but I was going to say the only thing about it is that they're doing their own thing. They're just putting whatever on. They're not replicating anything. But of course they were. They were replicating the original Star Destroyer from A New Hope still. But
yeah,
it takes so long for us because we're trying to get every kit part right.
Plus, we're trying to cut it the right way.
Yeah,
exactly. They just cut it to fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you saying, Jason?
No, I was going to say, I think deconstructing reverse engineering is much more difficult than like as John was mentioning, being at that starting point and just adding to it. Like, this looks good, fit this here, mirror this, whatever's on the left, copy on the right. Because there's nothing to match.
I think it's a different talent, Jason. It's like for us, it's I'm not going to use the word again that I use a lot, but it's more analytical, deconstructing. That is difficult in its own way. And what they did was more artistic, like what conveys the scale the best. How can I get enough variation? Those type of questions. It was more artsy, more free in that sense. Well, I think it's difficult in a different way.
It is, because I mean, if you've scratch built something that is not following reference, even that's difficult to figure out what to put on there to make it look right. I struggled with that big time with my clock card in the middle. Like, all right, well, what can I put on here that looks good but works, functional? Yeah.
There's many of these YouTube videos of people scratch building sci-fi stuff and using a shampoo bottle and whatever, and not crapping on somebody using a shampoo bottle, but you see that some of these builds, they look like it's a design, like everything fits together, and some just looks like, hey, this is an interesting shape, and I just glued a lot of Greeblies to it. Yeah. And there's this implied functionality that they were just really good at ILM. If we glue this part over this part, it looks like a locking mechanism, whatever. That is not easy to do.
No, it's not. That is an art of its own, trying to make the scratch building Greeblies to make them look functional in real world.
Oh yeah. I think honestly that I found that a little bit more difficult than reference, gluing on by reference, because you're using your own imagination, and then sometimes things look good when you put them on, and sometimes they're just like, I don't know, that just don't work,
And Adam Savage said he said that nearly on all the Star Wars ships you'll get a round circular kit part to a pipe going nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then even finding, like, I had boxes laying out all over the place. I'm going through like this box. I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't have anything that kind of gives me what I want, or this doesn't have something that gives me what I want. They did that, and it looks so freaking beautiful. Like, it looks like, I don't know. It's just it's bizarre.
Yeah, there's not. You can't even just say that the Avenger is ships, because it's F1 parts, it's tank parts.
Right. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Before we go further, I want to answer Nick's question, Marvin. Could you give us a brand of that black super glue?
I'll look it up while we go.
Okay. And my other question, I don't know, is the painting on this. Okay. Is that a lot of pencil marks, or like you see different colored squares in there, or is that's not all scrap? That's not all styrene edges.
No, there's a lot of pencil.
Yeah, that can't be all scribing. No way.
Yeah,
a
lot of pencil marks.
See, I didn't scribe anything on the Avenger bridge. but Lee Stringer said there was scribing on it,
Okay.
and I probably missed it.
Scribing is the bane of our existence.
Exactly. I'd much prefer to use pencil.
Medical tools work best, fellas. Like I told you, we
Yeah.
still got to do a show on, like out of the box tools that you use in the building.
Yeah. That'd be a good one. All
That
right.
super glue. I've used 2 brands. I've used VMS, Victor Marie Sierra VMS, and AK and Interactive. But it's basically the same stuff.
Okay.
Black super glue, huh? You like it black?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I need to speak to AK Interactive then.
That's pretty cool. I like that. The Macquarie sticker in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Look how much fiber
I remember
optics
the
are in
first time I
that. That
saw
just
that, I'm
makes
like,
my
oh.
stomach churn.
Yeah.
Have you ever done fiber optics, John?
Yeah. I've not done it well, but I've done it.
It is a pain in the butt. It is all those little threads. So then, okay, so even looking here, when they
On
put
the inner,
top,
the
inner,
part that folds
there's
in,
a lot of parts here you don't see. Like they're
Yeah,
covered
but look
up.
at those ship. There's so many ship decks there. Not the
Yeah.
decks, the bits that are above the bridge of the ship, if you like.
Man,
How helpful are those photos, though, if you're trying to scratch build it?
I mean,
Well, they're blurry, but
did you? I mean, imagine. I don't think any. I think it'd be impossible to scratch build this and make it accurate.
yeah.
It'd be impossible.
You have to be extremely precise. I mean, over this length, if you're off by 0.01%, that means that the 2 kit parts in the end don't fit, like 2 full
Right.
kit parts. It
There's
was
so
already
much
hard on the Sandcrawler, but this is
there's so many midways as well. There's so many expensive kits in there.
I think that they're battle of the midways.
The next picture, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, Chris. But look at that one. That
Yeah.
maquette. How cool's that? Looks
Oh,
like it's
yeah.
made out of brass.
It's like
I
the
don't
one
think
that
it-
Lauren just had.
No, I don't think this was a maquette. I think this is something that they actually use in a movie for like white shots or something.
You think it was made out
Yeah.
of brass?
Yeah.
I mean, I could see the color, but I mean,
Yeah, look at the bridge. I think that's brass.
okay. And what are these parts in here? They're just little pieces of styrene. They don't.
Yeah, they're
little
just chips of styrene.
chips. Yeah.
That would be a cool
Let me
model
see.
to do.
And you see the fiber optics. Yeah, this is yeah. You
Wow,
see
there
the
are
fiber optics. Yeah. So this wasn't a maquette.
Yeah, it's got
I
fiber
don't have
optics
my
bridge.
Google Translate app right now, for instance.
Google
See what the
Translate
text
what?
says.
The
The text in the book, in the Bible.
Oh,
that metal one, after doing the other maquette, it kind of made me want to scratch that itch, but it looks like a pain in the neck.
Yeah, I've never really worked with brass, so this will probably be something
You have to
new
solder it together.
I think if it's a thin enough piece, though, I think it's more pliable than we would think, right?
yeah, it's bendable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Holds its shape
that's
better
probably.
too.
I think that's probably why they use it to get it that thin, so in scale. But you can get like hard edges on the folds and everything.
Yeah,
If you would do that in styrene, it will break probably.
the snap.
Yeah, because the maquette with the styrene, you can see it splitting and them using the tape on the bottom side to bind it. Yeah.
Never actually really looked thoroughly at this thing. It's just something that I thought was cool, but it blew my
Again,
mind thinking
the
about-
repetition on these pieces is what I initially found interesting, but then also find most helpful, right? Because you start to realize, as we talk about all the time, that if you have a handful of kits, you more than likely can reuse those kits over. I mean, obviously, you probably need more than one, but you know what I mean? Like, if it has this part, then that part's probably on a Y-wing, it's probably on an X-wing, et cetera, et cetera.
Can't tell you how infuriating it makes me when I'm like, all right, I got the kit. I need 5 more. You know?
Oh, it does my head in. It's so annoying.
That's
When
the
I
way
opened up the
everybody does
Lancaster
it.
the other day, and the only part that I needed was gone.
Which one was that? That was
The walkway with the Sandcrawler.
the Centurion.
No, the Lancaster, but I managed to get that sprue again. But
Oh, yeah. All right, Probe Droid.
I think that should be everyone's start to studio scale modeling.
Yes.
5.8 rads, and a few flat kits, and you're away. You might have to get the Russian 125th tank for that wheel on the top, but really, it's not too much of a. And it's got the Hasegawa Lear railgun, isn't it, in there? But that's pretty much it.
I never knew these existed until I really started doing modeling.
And look how nice they're painted.
Yeah, nice and blue.
For all the mold setting in the archives.
Yeah.
Are they all moldy now?
Yeah, in the next couple of pictures, you can see the smaller part is just everything is falling apart.
Flaking
because of
off,
mold.
yeah.
Jesus, Marvin.
I'm sorry.
Jesus,
Yeah,
Marvin.
that one was like the large one's all right. It's the 223. It's the 223, the smaller one. That's flaking.
Yeah, I think you can see it starting here at the bottom. There's
Okay.
black speckles. I think it's probably the same mold because you can
Right.
see it on the engine bell. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to when our models start molding.
Well, I mean, I don't know if these are probably just not kept right for a long time. Weren't they
Yeah.
in just some
Just-
warehouse?
In a wet tank.
Yeah. I mean,
Warehouse.
the pictures with those like 5 kids going or walking around taking pictures of everything, the college kids.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
like a dark, dingy building that
Yeah.
and they didn't care about it.
Look, that was the picture, wasn't it,
Yeah.
Marvin, that turned everyone off kit parts and then knew that it was a
Yeah.
turned aluminium piece for the engine.
Yeah.
It's got rust in it. Look.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the front.
And the smaller one has a bunch of Ferrari pieces on, right?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
expensive. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's got what 5312Bs on it,
Yeah.
and they're cut down as well. They're not even.
Yep.
You have to cut them down.
Here. It's the hood here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's my
it's on the bottom of the
screen.
Slave One.
Yeah.
I think that was the first part help that I got when starting out. I don't remember if it may have been Lee Ralph or somebody. I think maybe it was Lee Ralph that sent me like a resin cast of this thing, and it was the first time that I actually bought some rubber myself, some silicone, and I actually recast it. So I got 5.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Because it wasn't-
kind of. Go ahead, Marvin.
Yeah, because John's right. Everybody should do these things as a starter to this hobby, because
Yeah.
it teaches you a lot, and it's very doable, except for these parts. And as you start out, you don't want to buy 5 of these. I mean, how much do they go for the 312Bs?
200
100.
pounds.
Yeah, 180, 200, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And most of them are in Japan. Like,
Yeah.
there's tons of them in Japan. But
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah,
is in Japan.
The rest, like the domes, are plastruct, aren't they? They can be ordered today. Still, they're in stock.
Yeah.
They're-
yeah, but you got to
lamps-
order with Plastruck, you got to
Lampshades.
order a certain amount of money. You can't just buy like 5 of them. You
Yep.
got to buy like $100.
You need to wait until you need a whole big order.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of finding that I'm gonna have to start like with the Sandcrawler. I want to keep as much in kit parts as I possibly can, but I'm finding it very difficult to stick to that.
I keep telling him, Marvin. I keep saying to Chris, you're not going to be able to build the Sandcrawler with all kit parts.
No,
You're gonna
I
have
mean,
to
just
go cast.
that's that Centurion part that we talked about yesterday. I mean, just from the top of my head, you need 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
two
on the
of
back
them
as
are-
well. Well, so it's 4. So
Yeah.
it's 4 Centurions, and they're $250 each.
yeah.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Keep an eye. I'm gonna close out and then join back. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Yes, I have a Centurion. I don't really want to buy 3 more for the hallway specifically. Was there 4 of them? No. Well, you need 3 separate kits for the hallway. 3 separate.
Yeah.
Centurions.
There's one on top. Same part
Yeah.
is on top.
And on the
On the
back. Yep.
I'm surprised you don't have that listed on your parts map. That silhouette.
Hmm.
It's not numbered.
Oh.
But yeah, this is I have one you sent me, John. I haven't even built one of these yet.
So look at the deterioration of the paint, showing the
Yeah.
tanned plastic of the
Yeah.
Tamiya kit part.
They didn't
Yeah.
prime it good enough.
Definitely primed it at all.
Yeah. Did they paint everything just enamel over top of kit parts?
It wouldn't have
No,
been
they
enamel.
usually
It would have
they
been
usually
acrylic. So
Yeah.
lacquer.
but
use
they
acrylic?
usually did prime it. Yeah, there's many pictures of many models in this really dark gray.
Okay.
It doesn't look like black to me, but it's also not a light gray, so it's a very dark gray primer that they used on a lot of models. But maybe this one was a quickie
Yeah.
and they didn't. I don't know.
This one's flaking probably because they didn't use a primer,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they would have used the original flow quill paint on this particular one, and that would have been a lacquer-based one in the 70s. Flow
So-
quill didn't turn to enamel until like, what was it, late 80s, 90s? I don't know. That
Yeah, I think it
guys
was
want to answer that.
89 or something. Yeah.
I love the colors on this thing. The black, the dark gray, the bluish, the stormy sea. Like I think it's a really cool model to paint, and
Yeah.
and it's another one that I've said this a million times. It's a good one. Okay, if you're gonna build both of these and display them both together on like a stand, okay, it'd look really cool if you painted one and left the other as kit parts, just to see, the difference in how they're built. That's probably how I would display one of these.
And then
suckers.
you could even pick up the two different types of if you wanted a tanned 8 rad or a grey 8 rad, you could alternate them around.
Yeah,
Look at that sketch. It's probably Joe Johnson, isn't it?
yeah, it's Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
But look how identical
Yeah.
that is to the pod. There's
Yeah.
no way he would have made that up.
Mm-mm.
He's copied the model.
Yep. Yeah, it's got you can see the 8 rad part on it, or not the 8 rad, whatever. What is this?
223 or-
Yeah, I'm always wondering how this process works. I mean, what's the use in drawing this up after you build the model?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's probably something like, yeah, we're going to do something. Okay, we're probably going to use these 5 holes and a plastered dome. Can you draw something up? I think it's probably something like that. Like there's kit parts that initiate, then they do a full drawing, and then they build the final model to that sketch. But there has to be some kind of interaction between the two.
Because I mean, look at the
I
headlamps.
would think.
The head he's drawn the Plastruct headlamps at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just upside down. Yeah. I do like his engine better.
I do.
Yeah, his engine is better.
Yeah.
By the way, do you guys know that, like, so except for the mold and everything on it, these were painted fairly cleanly. I mean, there was a little bit of soot around those plaster parts above the domes. The rest of it is actually painted fairly cleanly. And then there was this one modeler, and he built it and he painted it up, and he went kind of overboard with some weathering, especially near the engine section. I think his name was Simmons. And now everybody that builds these things always paints them with the splatters on the bottom and everything. Everybody follows, if you knows that, John, everybody follows your paint scheme on this.
Yeah.
Which is actually much more in line with what ILM did on every other model.
Yeah, this is actually yeah. Don't do
But
what I
this
do.
one is actually fairly clean. Yeah.
I was wondering where you were going with that, Marvin.
The dig.
No, it's good. I mean, you're a trendsetter.
Yeah. People follow what you do, John.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a compliment in
Don't
disguise.
follow me.
All right, moving on. Snow speeder.
Big snow speeder.
This is the big one.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that the snow speeder was a lot bigger than people think.
Yeah, it's huge. How big is it? It's what, like
20 inches? 20 inches
20
long?
inches?
Actually, the next page will tell you exactly how big it is.
Yeah. Engine to engine, it's actually 9.78 inches.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah.
Or 7/8.
There aren't that many people that actually did this like full on scratch, right? I mean, there's been a few, but it's not like
there really isn't too many.
No.
The Salzo kit was nice at this, actually.
This is one of those cases where, like, if I was to display one of these, I wouldn't want a big, huge cloud car or snow speeder. I want something that's, like this, put on my shelf, You know, I
It's a
always
nice
reserve
display size.
yeah, display size. I always reserve the bigger models in my collection to be like Falcon, Slave One, AT-AT, stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But this just seems wrong to be. I know it's the studio scale. We're just talking studio scale, but like displayability, like when you build one and or buy one, and I want it to be small, like a maquette size, you
I
know.
think Nexus brought out a 1/24th one actually, and it was really really well done.
I think Merlin's doing 1/24th.
Yeah, and
Four.
there weren't many out there. I think and he did a small run of them, but they were really nice. But this
You know,
this had the movement of the head. The pilot's heads moved, didn't they? You could turn the rear engine, and the flaps would open and close. I think was that right, or was that the toy? I can't remember. But
No, that was here.
yeah,
You know, they probably did these measurements on every single ship on Empire and Jedi. Like, where's the Slave One? You know, like they show a few, but not all of them. You know, it'd make our lives much more easier just to show these things.
God,
Yeah. I mean, John, how long were we sitting there yesterday measuring reference to try to get that walkway
oh
as
god!
close as we thought?
But come on, we couldn't have done any of that without Jason.
Boy, I wish he was here to say that you didn't time that right. That was
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
I'd just like to thank everyone for where I am now in studio scale modeling. If it wasn't for Jason, I'd be nowhere.
Oh man, I gotta tell him to play back and listen to that. He can't miss that one.
He's gonna have to watch it back.
He's gotta watch it back. What time are we at? 36:50. I'll tell him. Go back and watch 36:50. Oh man. God, you make me laugh sometimes. Yeah, Hoth is some of my favorite things. So AT-AT, Snowspeeder,
And the music.
ATST. And the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Even
mean,
played, I think was it Rogue Squadron on the N64 that had the first level. You could fly around and you could like lasso the AT-AT walkers and knock them down. But it had the original music from the film, and I was stuck on that level for so long that theme of the Hoth battle was just stuck in my head.
John, we're 40-year-old men. No, I don't play much video games. I really don't. Last thing I played was the Spider-Man game, just because I wanted to see all the skins. That was it.
I don't even. My kids have just taken over everything. I've got an Xbox, but I haven't held the controller in 5 years.
Yeah.
The kids just that's their stuff now. You know?
So looking at this back pick of the engine here, the Snowspeeder, it's really crazy how they made life-size ones look like studio scale ones, look like little maquettes. How they got these things to mirror each other. I mean, obviously it's not
there's
exact.
a lot of detail in the back of that on the actual studio scale model of the miniature.
Right.
There's a lot of that detail in there.
Yeah, but I mean, like to find a 4-foot pipe, 3-foot pipe, right? That's about that size, and get it on there looking like the model. You know what I mean? It's just it's crazy to think that they were able to do that in 1980. You know,
Yeah.
Nowadays it's not as difficult, but that's really cool looking. I like that a lot. Be fun to find out what I'm sure somebody has looked at that and said, "All right, I'm gonna figure what
It's
these
like
things are."
inside of washing machines and plumbers' parts.
Yeah.
And,
Toilets.
Yeah.
Probably a woman's vibrator in there somewhere.
There's two at the top.
Sorry about the construction. They're redoing my road. You probably hear. See, now I want a book of all of these. I know there's the blueprints book, but I don't think it shows all of these.
See, that looks so 70s sci-fi to me. That chrome
Yeah.
gun. Like,
looks like Flash Gordon should be climbing on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're like,
This is
take a
one of those
picture.
things-
Yeah, like take a picture, then take your helmet off and take a picture with your helmet off. Yeah.
This thing for me is really like I'm glad it didn't make it in the movie big time, because it feels out of place with the maturity of the rest of the designs. Basically, This feels like a low budget design, to me at least.
It'd be fun to build though.
So it looks cool at the top when it's all weathered and like beige sort of. If you scroll to the top, you can see like the picture of it
In
out
snow.
in the snow.
Here.
See? Yeah, that looks cool there.
Yeah. It's got the red circles. Yeah, this is cool.
Okay-ish.
It's got the
Okay,
rails.
we haven't changed
Yeah.
minds.
No, it's no big love for me.
What? No beige?
This
You
is
don't like beige?
No, this looks like one of those
Looks like a
little
toy.
I
extra.
know what you mean, the toys.
The extra little toys that it feels like this.
Mini
Like
rigs.
it doesn't really fit with the rest of it.
Like mini rigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, mini rigs. Yeah.
Yep.
So, Chris, I know I'm rushing you, but the next page is a huge 4-page fold-out.
Oh, yeah, I can't do that on here. I can zoom in. I think this is the one that has the guy climbing, like that's buried underneath all of these. Hold yours up, John. Hold your fold out up. We could show like we're kind of talking about this book, but we also want to like show what's in the book.
Yeah. This is what you get.
Yeah. All 9 of the people who are watching are probably searching for it right now.
Yeah.
It just looks like a hodgepodge of stuff that there was no rhyme or reason, but there really was.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, look at that. It don't look like kit parts. It just looks like chiseled rock.
So when you watch the Blu-ray, so on the Blu-ray extras that has like the collection on it, it goes way. I think it was like 2006, wasn't it, when that came out or something? You can go to each one of these models, and there's Lorne and other people talking about it. And there's a section where Lorne talks about it, and he says, and people were like getting on your nerves or whatever, you just send them over and start working on the Superstar Destroyer for like an hour. And then they would all work around and just rotate. And he said like a quilting bee. Does that make sense to you? Like,
Yep.
so he said they work around it like that. And it's just, and I think the people that, a similar thing happened to the Death Star 2 in Return of the Jedi with the brass. You would be made to go over and start brassing the Death Star.
I would not want to be stuck doing this.
I don't know. It's therapeutic. I would be quite happy.
Yeah. At some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they used it as a punishment, so
Yeah, that says enough.
that says enough.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good picture of.
The only time that looks bad is in Jedi when it goes into the Death Star vertically.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's purely the composite. That doesn't look that good.
Now, didn't this parts like get destroyed and they rebuilt it, or was that one of the other Star Destroyers?
That was the Stardust, the Avenger. All the lights were left on by the cameraman, and all the fiber optics melted together.
Oh,
And they had to saw through the fiber optic like bundle, and like they managed to save it. But
wow! But I thought one of these Star Destroyers, like this one, Jason, don't I remember correctly that it was this one that they shipped it and it got all messed up, and then they spent a lot of time fixing it?
well, this is in the archives. It looks pretty good then. So they must have fixed
Okay.
it well.
Jason was here. He left us again.
There's a picture of there's a good picture of it with a ruler underneath it, and there's a picture of the 135th German ammo loader guy. There's a really detailed, excellent picture.
In here?
I love this picture.
No, keep going. I'm doing my whole jumping ahead thing again.
This really shows the detail. This picture. This is perfect.
Yeah, look at that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And there's fiber optics in that as well. Look, all the blue.
Yeah. Look at all the chips.
Yeah.
I think I remember Lauren talking about this and actually stating that these aren't like fiber optics as in little strands, because he says you can only fit
they're
so many
scratched off.
inside. Yeah, and it was like more like internal lighting and then stretched off because it was just too big. I think I remember him saying that in an interview.
Chris, what were you saying before I cut?
Isn't this one of the, didn't this or one of the other Star Destroyers get really damaged and then they had to rebuild it? Was it
Yes,
this
I
one?
think I want to say it was because I believe it was Fawn was one of the guys who was tasked
Yeah.
with rebuilding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was this one. Yeah, quite a few pieces had come off, had come undone. I mean, I'm sure there's more detail that I'm missing, but yeah, I believe it was this one.
Yeah, because I remember Fawn talking about it at that celebration.
Yeah, and the difficult thing was trying to go in and recreate the damage and missing parts as faithfully to the original as possible, which, as we all know through experience, is quite difficult.
That's
And you would
12
think
inches
that
across.
12
So-
Oh wow. No, I was gonna say you would think that with that type of experience, right? The mindset that, well, if you're at ILM or if you have access to, but I don't necessarily think it makes it that much easier.
No, it doesn't.
They would not have documented. They wouldn't have made part maps for something like this.
No, they definitely wouldn't have. They're just slapping it on as they go.
Yeah.
Something
So-
like Slave One or an AT-AT or Snow
Maybe,
Speeder. It's easier to keep track of all the parts, but this is just throw it on as you see it.
Pretty much, yeah.
But they're all recognizable. All those parts we've
Yeah.
probably handled.
Yep.
Do you think
You
somebody
know,
do you know of anybody who's actually gone through and tried to ID a lot of this stuff? No.
No.
me personally, no.
No, there's a guy in Australia, I think, that built one at the same scale, but I don't know if he used the original kit parts or not.
Marshall Carl.
If we conclude that doing the Avenger truthfully, this I don't see how anyone could do this
No,
truthfully with like
because there's also chips on top of kit parts.
yeah, there's just too much. You could spend a lifetime.
The
Look at
other thing that
yeah,
makes
whatever.
this
Look at the next picture. Oh, hang on, no.
Yeah, the other thing that makes this a challenge, and for people who are new to model making, you'll it's not just about IDing the parts, but when something is monotone like this, where you don't have, let's say an A-wing, where you have the white section, the red section, it allows you to sort of like create a cross-reference breakdown of, being able to see the parts easily. But this, everything just kind of bleeds together, and after looking at this for so much time, it really makes it that much more difficult. Even when there are parts that you recognize or parts that are very common, I think it still makes it a challenge when you have monotone colors like this.
Yeah, I mean, looking at there, we've handled every single one of those parts, I reckon.
There's a lot more pieces of styrene, flat pieces of styrene than I thought.
Yeah, look at
Imagine-
where the ammo guy is there.
Yeah. John, the other day we were cutting up these popsicle sticks and we're like, oh God, could you imagine sitting there cutting up all of these pieces of styrene?
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah,
And they look nicely cut as well. They're like, there's no,
I have no idea when laser cutting became a thing. Was that already available back then?
I wouldn't know.
I think so.
Because like if you would do this now, I mean, you load it up in a laser cutter, make 10, 15 designs, 50 centimeters long, and just cut them up and just glue them on. And just
I think it was more in the late 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think they were
probably, yeah.
around the 80s.
Look
I
at the
hadn't even thought of it.
Rocco gun part as well. The Rocco Leopard. Or was it Gepard? I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it, John, but just cutting all these tiny panels
Crazy.
makes the Soundcrawler like feel like an easy job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is mind blowing. This is absolutely just Nick asked a question. How are your executor maquettes coming along?
They're all
Yeah,
done.
guys,
done,
how are yours getting along?
Mine's right here. Jason, are you joining back in again? Jason? Mine's right here.
Nice.
I just have those on right now. I got to put the tape on, and then I have all the kits now. I thought I was, like you said, Marvin, you know, the King George is really easy. I mean, it's cheap. It's cheap. It just was something I never really picked up. And then I was in a model shop, and he had a really old one. So I'm like, I'll take that, you know. And then I'm like, all right, well, I got to get the Gephardt, the Gephardt. And then Jason. Let's mute him. And I was looking on my shelf. I'm like, oh, I actually have it. I forget some of the kits I have sometimes.
But we've got to thank you. We've got to thank you, Marvin, for designing that.
Hell yeah.
You've given us all a cool thing to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a fun, easy little model. If you have that the basic set as well, and it's just easy to do. It kind of irks me that we can clearly see these outlines of these kit parts that have popped off since.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've only been able to find one.
Really? I would have thought they'd be in the same kits as the other ones that we know about.
I would think so as well, but the outlines haven't been clear enough for me yet to find them, at least.
Yeah.
So I'm at the point now where I'm just going to paint it up, and I'll probably paint it up with the missing kit parts outlines in color for now.
Jason, are you there? Sounds like he's in his bathroom.
This car.
Text me, Jason, if you get back on so I can join you. It's your mic's making a lot of noise. But yeah, this is it's I don't know what it is, just holding it, it just feels cool. Like
it does, yeah.
It just
you know what why I think that is? Because it actually is a maquette that was designed to feel and see the dimensions.
Yeah.
So it's a really flat and really elongated with sharp angles type. So it actually feels like the Executor, only like really tiny. So it doesn't suffer from that when we break everything down or scale it down. It becomes more clunky. It's still nice and thin and sleek. So I think that's it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that as well, and I think that's it.
Yeah, I just feels, I don't know.
I liked how Top Store had it displayed at an angle.
I didn't like how they displayed it.
But also, I like it flat, how it is, just on my shelf.
I don't like those hooks they put on, and underneath there's that, like, humped wire that just was, I don't know.
I can't believe it only went for 10,000.
I thought it was 15.
Oh, 15 was it?
Yeah. And plus it makes it cool that it was Lauren's. I don't think he built it, but he had it.
I think in the description he said that he had somebody build it, so he didn't.
Paul Houston.
Yeah.
These are the things that I actually really get a kick out of. When I was building a hospital ship, there's one on the hospital ship, and at first when I was building it, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna put that in there. Like this was the hospital ship was my first scratch build piece.
That also has a little guy in it.
Yeah. It also has a little one. And I was like, I was talking to Jason. I don't think I'm gonna put it on there. I don't know. Something about it just don't seem right. But as I started building the thing, I'm like, oh, I have to put it on there now. I have to. Like, it's got to be. I love the way
he's just poking out under a little nook.
Yeah, it's like perfect that he's like getting buried under kit parts and he's making that face, and stretching out. It's like a person who's buried under, rubble or even like in Game of Thrones when Jon Snow is buried under people, So, yeah, that's a really awesome. I love that picture. That's one of my favorites. So so a lot of this is styrene strips, like all these little shapes are styrene.
Yeah, that's killer work. Oh. Do you reckon they sanded every edge, Marvin?
Sorry?
Do you reckon they sanded every edge?
A little bit.
Three
swipes. That's
Yeah. 3 swipes with a emery board.
That's it.
And these are what, like PVC pipe or
Yeah.
and then
No,
stuff on
no,
them?
no. I'd say they're turned aluminium.
Yeah, at least the center of it is turned in
Yeah.
aluminum. Otherwise, it would burn out, like melt out, like in no
Yeah.
time. And then they've added stuff to it.
Oh, I've never really.
So this is one of the things where you can really appreciate the book, because that's we're discussing the book, right? Not the models.
Yes.
Yeah. So like,
And
I can't remember ever seeing pictures like these of the Executor anywhere. I mean,
No.
there's been pictures here and there, but these type of close-ups with the sharpness of the pictures, this is really where this book shines.
so now the PDF I have, it's pretty clear, but even this in the book is a lot more clear.
Yeah.
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 You can really get, if you wanted to make a smaller version of it, you could get the dimensions from that
Yeah.
image.
Right there. I give
Yeah.
you a little ruler.
Great model.
Unbelievable. It's just a marvel. Like, you don't see any of this. There's no reason to make this much detail on it because you don't see it.
Back then, no.
No.
Right now, with like full 4K screens, and you still wouldn't be able to see what it was, but you might be able to see that there's something going on there. But back then, in that
Yeah.
quality,
So
When
okay.
did you start watching the films again after you've been modeling and you start recognizing kit parts on the screen? Did you start did that take you away from the film? Because it does me.
It doesn't me.
hmm,
No, I'm able to. I've said this before. I think on another show, I'm able to look at this and pick out kit parts, but then I'm also able to see it as a whole. You know, for what it is. I can do both, and it doesn't
Yeah.
ruin it for me at all. It makes it more fascinating to me, to be honest.
So
I actually forget to look at the movies when it comes to kit parts.
Yeah.
So at some point, when we're doing these models, I have to put up the movie or whatever to see, like, okay, so what was it actually? How was it? How was it when it was filmed?
yeah,
I actually forget that this actually, we saw this in movies, because I'm
Yeah.
only looking at reference pictures. And when I watch the movies, I watch them for the movies, not for this, not for our hobby.
Let's take some cool shade and mangle it up like this. What do you think?
Yeah.
so this is interesting. Why is the TIE fighter in the Empire Strikes Back section?
Well,
This is the TIE fighter that got hit by the asteroid. in
Yeah, in
asteroid
the
chase.
asteroid chase.
Yeah, but the next scene, the next picture has just that one that's just without the damage.
Mm,
Well, it flew into the asteroid
Yeah.
undamaged.
yeah.
This is
And
one
did
of
they
the.
re-
This here is
did they
one of those.
repaint them?
Did the what?
Did they repaint the TIE fighters for Empire to
I don't
match
know.
like the Stormy Sea that they also put on the other ships? I don't know.
No, I don't know.
This
They
here
love
is
it.
one of the ships that I always liked, the Rebel
Yeah.
Transport. I think it
Yeah, I
comes
love
from having that case, that vintage case.
Yeah,
I never had that case, but I always wanted that case, but I never got that case.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
pretty,
that was the reason.
I'm going to turn the top to get the lid off.
yep. It was pretty awesome.
My
This
kids
is a
still
ship
play with that now.
that I really want to build one day and have on my display, to go with background ships and the ship that you sent me, the Monaco ship.
Well, someone is building it, but I can't say who at the moment.
Well, that's good to know.
What's always held me back of starting this is just lack of clear reference of the underside.
Yeah.
It's so many layers, and I don't know how to peel the layers back and to see what's going on, how these things are, all these containers are held in place. But other than that, would be a.
And those
really nice
containers aren't kit parts, are they? They've been scratched, I think.
I think they've been scratched and just cast. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the colors on this thing. There's pinks, there's blue. Everybody thinks it's just gray, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of cool colors on it.
Yeah.
They're very muted, but they're there.
That's another thing. Paul Houston said that he spent so long working on that, and you see it for like a second on screen go past.
Barely.
All that detail underneath. It's got the Hasegawa Railroad gun, isn't it? Middle section running through the middle of it.
Where on here?
Yeah, on the underside.
I mean, this is a good picture, but it's still blurry.
Yeah, you get better ones.
Do you?
Yeah, but they're still at angles and stuff.
We're not jumping ahead, are we?
Oh, sorry, man. Look at that staining.
Yeah. This shows the colors. Like, this sort of shows the colors. I mean, I like this piece. I like a lot of chips too. A lot of styrene that's been cut and chipped, and the ones I like.
Did they ever allude to where this ship came from? Because it could very well be like a Mon Calamari ship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always assumed it is.
Yeah, I've always assumed it is as well.
It's got the rear mount. See, in the engine at the top, that's the rear mount.
Yeah.
That's how I'd have it displayed vertical, so you can see the underside.
Oh yeah, okay.
Have it displayed like they've got it in the in that sort of group picture where you see the ghost from Poltergeist at the back.
Yeah,
vertical.
I mean, I'll be honest, I would probably display it horizontal, but like it'd be almost sacrilegious to do that because you have all the work on the bottom.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And that again, the picture of George Lucas standing in front of all the models, it's vertical in the back of that.
Did they shoot this? Because they composited at least this with the NPC X-wings in the Hoth Escape. Well, you think those were filmed together? Are they to scale to each other?
I wouldn't think they're to scale. No, I think they're too big.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
they'd be way too big. Yeah.
There's some degradation right there, some rust, some mold. Are there a lot of kit parts on here? I mean, like it doesn't look like much here because they got the boxes.
There's tons around
There's definitely some stuff. Yeah, it's on the other side. Sure.
It's weird that they would scratch all those boxes. It's just bizarre.
No, I think they scratched one or two or three and then cast those.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
There's only a couple of shapes.
Like you see green, you see blue, you see pink.
Red.
Just on that. Yeah, I love it. No, I'm talking about the hull. Like it's just
The panels, yeah.
the panels. Yeah, I love that.
But this could be extremely oversaturated, right? So
yeah, it's true.
There's definitely color variation in there, but
Yeah, it's muted a lot. Pretty sweet. I love pinch and zoom.
Look at how the picture above with the wires going into it.
Yep. Were there lights in this thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for the engines.
the engine, yeah.
That's just been carved out of a kit like hull, hasn't it? You see that?
Yep. Very haphazardly too.
Yeah.
Yep. It's crazy.
There you go.
Me too.
Look at that engine where it meets all those wires and everything. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
And those bells,
Exhaust.
those engine bells are aluminium as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then this isn't a huge model. What is it, like 2 feet, 3 feet? So it's not like it's real big and honking. It's doable.
Yeah. It's like 34 inches.
Okay. Pretty sweet. Morning, Lee. How you doing?
Ali?
2 feet. Let's get IDing all this, brother. We gotta build this sucker.
Look at the that block that it's on as well. You see so many ILM models on that block. It's a
On
few
here.
photos down. No,
Few
you
photos
see,
down?
you have to scroll down a bit more. I'm not jumping here. I'm sorry.
Ah, no.
Now the mounting block, you mean?
Yeah, the mountain block. They have them on the A wings and all sorts. This one seems to be sprayed white though. Usually they're just in wood. If you see, that's it. See that mountain block.
Oh. Yeah, this is early.
Yeah, they didn't take their models to Comic Cons and shows, so they didn't have to look pretty, that mounting block.
No, they
Nope.
didn't, did they? That's why I feel at home in my grotty bungalow with everything just in trash.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you do that just because to get the ILM feel. I know.
Yeah.
Tired of painting Bush. I imagine you are. I'm tired of painting sandcrawlers. Well, building Randy Cooper sandcrawlers. I've built 2 now, and I'm just like, that's it. I'm done. That's it. Last one. And this comment here. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's build one.
What haven't you ID'd, Lee?
At.
So this is actually one of the 2 models that got me into this hobby.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was this one and the medical frigate. Until I read more about the medical frigate, and I knew that it was just too big to build. And then I read a bit more about the AT, and I was like, there's absolutely no way that I can engineer that aluminum armature. So then I just started building other models. But these 2 are the models that actually got me hooked on the hobby that I really wanted to build.
Yeah,
The AT-ATs are like the Falcon, aren't they? They're just
they're so recognizable.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like when you think of
Iconic.
Empire, it's usually the first thing people think of.
You show anyone that, they'll know it's the Star Wars.
And to be quite honest, Chris, to come back to what you said earlier, I have the same feeling about this AT-AT as well as the ATST. They're just such a nice display size. Like
They
the
are.
amount of detail with the size is just perfect for a display piece. I feel the same way about the 32-inch Falcon. As display piece, it's the detail is right for the size, for the
Yes.
And the
I still want to do this.
the ILMers were thinking of us for display size on these. You know, they thought, all right,
Of
40
course,
years from
yeah.
now, there's
Yeah.
4 guys on a channel going to be talking about that we made it the right size so they could display it on their shelves.
But look at the side of the armor. You know, if you had a flat surface and you could go wild with kit parts, you could easily overdo it. But there's very few kit parts on the side of that. There's a few from the flak, isn't there, that stick up the top, which I think complement it beautifully.
Yeah.
And then the divots in it, and then there's the ladder on the side. It's quite bare.
This is one of
There's
those
a-
cases where you appreciate scratch building from not from reference, but from just design and artistic value.
Yeah.
Where if you put too much on, it looks like the sequels AT-ATs. It does. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't look right.
But this makes more sense. I mean, it's basically a walking tank. So you want to have flat surfaces so you can ricochet blasts off as much as possible. You don't want too much detail on there to catch incoming fire. It's just, it makes sense. At least that's how I read the implied functionality of this thing. Yeah.
You know what I've never noticed till I'd say a couple years ago was the knees. In the movie they spin
Yep.
they like spin while they move while they're walking.
It's another thing they had to do in the stop motion. Make sure that
Right.
turns a little bit every time.
It's weird that they stuck 2 AT-AT pictures in the middle of.
They have
it
it.
is.
Oh, it's just on this PDF.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is a repeat. I've seen they repeated this picture. Okay. No.
On the belly of the Walker, there's quite a lot of kit parts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The part you don't see.
I wonder how accurately they did that on Rey's house in the Force Awakens that she lives in. The belly.
We don't talk about those things here, John. We do not mention the sacrilege.
See, if there'd have been a 148 soldier there, that would have been in scale.
Yeah.
Maybe that is. I don't know.
One of my favorite kit parts, it is like, and it's on so much. Well, not a lot, but 3 or 4 pieces is the Harrier engine. I love. I don't know what it is. I love that piece, and it screams Star Wars to me. You know, every time I see it.
Mm.
It's on AT-AT, Slave
Right.
One,
Yeah.
Sandcrawler. Any others that it's on? You know of?
I think it's on one of the buildings. Lee would know this if he's watching. I keep going on about it. The Bespin skyline, those
Okay.
buildings. I think it's one of them with like a lid on
Yeah.
top.
Nice. I don't know why. It's just always one of those pieces. I'm like, I love this. This fascinates me.
This picture's cool. Look at all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The edges are thick as well to the armor. Look at that.
They are. What do you think they were made out of? Wood, or were they
I
cast?
think they
Cast.
I think they cast these.
You can
They
see the air
cast them.
bubbles on him, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trick of this is getting the armature, though. That's where you guys start.
Yep.
Yeah, the Merlin models one is good. It's not accurate. I mean, it's good, but it's. I want one with a metal armature.
Yeah. And just leave it in metal.
Honestly, like that, I have the ATST legs downstairs on display. It's so cool just to look at that.
Yeah.
Without everything on it, but I'm gonna build it eventually. But now I know why I don't do very many shows up here in my garage, because this chair is not nearly as comfortable as the one I have downstairs for all my shows.
I'm bent over double using my laptop on top of box files.
Mine's just on a. It's fast. It's funny because like if you watch the shows, you see, my stuff in the back.
Yeah.
Right? But you don't see the shit that I have like in front of me, like the camera, the screens, the light. It's I don't know.
Well, that's what I said when I first saw you. I was like, oh, great. We get to see some work in progress stuff. We've got the crawler behind you. We've got another indoor thing that I recognize at the top.
Yeah, that's back there too. Yep. And that's Sherman.
Yeah.
Just got that finally. Oh, what did cast from Clay Sculpt? Yeah. Please put up a bunch of comments. I have not ID'd the AT-AT. Pretty awesome. Like just
see
if I
that's the full size one that's fallen over, isn't it? That's the
yeah.
because
This
that's
is
what Bandai replicated on their kit.
Okay.
That hatch.
Walkerhead. More sketches from Joe Johnson.
I love those sketches. They complement the pictures of the models so nicely.
They sure do. They sure do. I don't see a lot of McQuarrie in like pictures in here though. They didn't.
Is that foot? Is that hang on, go back. Is that foot made of wood?
Yeah. Look at the inside of it.
Yeah.
But is that the Bigfoot that they use to crush?
There's pictures of them laying down and they're hanging it over the top of them in that
Hmm.
behind the scenes pictures.
Somebody has that. Doesn't Gus Lopez have that?
Probably.
He does. Yeah.
Doesn't he have everything?
Look at this AT-AT driver. I mean, you got this skinny dude and then this huge bobblehead.
Yeah.
I've been going to enough Comic Cons to know that somehow for many of these costumes, because they're quite thick, you have to have like really thin actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really
Everyone's
starts to look-
5'11" and skinny.
Yeah.
it gets bulky real quick.
Can't be redwoods
You're
like
right.
you two guys.
No.
No.
He's muscle bound. No.
Muscle back.
These sets of pictures is what everyone went wild about when this book came out, aren't they?
Yeah.
That ATST.
Yeah, a few people had them in black and white, and then they sort of hoarded them, didn't they, before this book came out?
Yeah.
And then everyone got to see them.
Oh, there's Jason.
Hey guys.
Sorry, Jay. I didn't notice.
No. Yeah, no worries. I've been. My reception where I am is kind of in and out because I have a little bit of a busy morning, but I still wanted to participate as much as I could. I thought it was interesting. I was listening to Marvin, like you said. You will notice that some of the actors are very, very thin because once you start piling on the costumes, you know, it still has to look normal. It still has to look like the body of a normal person, right? That's why it's difficult when you see like death troopers and stuff. But Chris, you make a good point. The AT-AT drivers and TIE pilots specifically, they almost look silly because they look like mascots. So when you like hire somebody for a child's birthday, the head is so big, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, Lee, I think a lot of people kind of I like Joe's sketches as well.
Yeah.
And like apparently George did as well because he made most of his stuff look like what Joe sketched.
Yes.
Yeah, but didn't they have like different applications? I think Macquarie was more like general, like inspirational art.
Yeah.
And Joe Johnson was designing stuff. He was actually designing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, McQuarrie would give the general idea like, hey, let me get the image out of your head and on.
Yeah.
And then Joe would then take it and refine it.
Exactly, and get the feeling. You usually placed it like in the surroundings, so you get the kind of feel for the color scheme and everything. But it was never a design yet. At least that's what I see it. And Joe Johnson is like an excellent designer. It's the way this ATST thing that he built. It's just.
And what a great access to talent, right? Especially with Joe having the ability to do the design work, but also bringing the artistic aspect into the design. That's not easy to do.
Ever since I was a kid, I've seen not only it would be in like books that had the Star Wars figures in, and that's like Steve Sansweet's book years ago when I was a kid. It would have a couple of Joe Johnson sketches in it, and I was fascinated by them as a 10-year-old. And then it's gone on to like model making and painting the Boba Fett helmet and building the blockade runner parts and building painting the.
He was
it's
definitely a jack of all trades for sure.
Absolutely insane amount of talent that man has.
And then all the storyboard. I mean, think about all the storyboards.
Yeah, the
storyboards as well. In addition to matte painting, model building and painting, costuming. I mean, it's
directing.
Directing. I mean, he's done it. He's done it all, and that's. I mean, that's amazing.
You know what's funny is most people when they think of concept and storyboards and stuff immediately think of Macquarie, but Joe Johnson had way more to do with things than anybody on beside of George.
Correct.
Joe Johnson was the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. You're right.
And
then by the time,
give it to George for realizing that this guy's
we put
jack of all trades. Figured
and
out.
then by the time by the time Return of the Jedi rolled around, the fact that they had that level of trust, right, and reliability on each other, Joe was able to bring in Nilo Rodis and say, hey, like this is a mini me, if you will, and George just had blind trust and loyalty to Joe's ability to say, hey, I think here's a good person to work with me and also fill my shoes, and I think that was a good choice for sure.
Lee, we're trying not to get people on this group. We're not allowed to give them compliments and make everybody's head bigger than they already are.
No. We only tear people down on here.
Yes, we couldn't do any of this. We couldn't do any of this without Jason.
Usually we try to focus on John, but
and John is the most important painter and builder in the world. And
hang on,
You know,
Have you Marvin's been to a Comic-Con with Lee, me, and Guy, and Lee and Guy tear the shit out of me constantly.
but it's fun. You know, like
It builds character. It builds
it
character.
does.
Yeah.
It gives you thick skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just met
But
you.
the
a
first
little
time
bit
I
more.
met Guy, he was telling me off.
Marvin's always giving us shit all the time.
Yeah.
Every time I erase a
Exact-
message, it's like, Chris.
I've heard Jesus John too many times in my lifetime now.
Yes. Yes. Just in that chat alone, there's been like, what, 10, 15, 20?
For those people that aren't in the chat, I do try to balance that with some compliments and help.
Yes, you
It's
do.
not,
Well,
it's not all.
What's even better too, I'd like to share this openly, only because it's funny, but for anybody watching that's like, wow, like look at these guys, they're the bee's knees, they got this down, they know what they're doing. Man, not only does it take a village, there's a lot of work that goes into it, but there's a lot of nope, you're wrong, nope, you're wrong, nope, that's not it, nope, you're wrong. And trust me, it isn't as easy and smooth sailing as you think. It's
Nope.
a ton.
Nope.
Most people
Depends.
have zero confidence in me when I start saying I know what a kit part is.
Well, when you name a kid power, we don't even tell you no, we just all disregard it.
Yeah, tumbleweeds go past and I say, "Oh, it's this." You
And
know?
then we
Yeah,
find out later that
we don't even say no.
Yeah.
we found out later that you were right on something. Remember that? What was that?
That does happen.
Yeah, it was the thing in the back of the little
Headwheels.
maquette, the executor. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was the wheel.
I'm not always wrong.
Yeah.
You weren't letting that one down,
No.
though. He was going to take that one with him. He was like, it's this, and I know it's this, and nobody's going to tell me different. And it ended up being that, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So
John
this back
loves.
to the book, guys.
John loves the abuse.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about the book. Yeah.
Yeah. But you love it. I do, mate. I do. You would have thought, having this book full of photos of every other ship, that you'd be more of the most iconic, like, filming prop of all time. But there's literally just like 4 pages. I know we get a good, like, shot from the top and the bottom, but that literally is it on the Falcon.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's
I
lacking
expected
in
a
this
lot more. I expected a lot more of the Falcon, a more like
Yeah.
innate detail, a lot of the smaller, sort of refined detail. But I think, I don't know why the decision was made, because they had the piece there, they had the availability to image it as detailed as they wanted, but they just it was like a skim.
Well, don't forget they showed a lot of the A New Hope Falcon. There's
Yeah.
That's
ton of
true.
pictures
That's true.
of
They
that.
did. Yeah, we were spoiled with that.
Yeah.
But that one's a good one. The bottom image of the 32 inches. Really
Yeah.
good. But what happened? So that's like a really muted picture. So if you'd like try and add some contrast to that and like black, it just completely destroys what it was. So you can't. You if you're going to replicate it, you have to sort of replicate it from that image and just try and trust your ability to see through that sort of.
Yeah.
age.
Lighten it a lot.
But look what it's resting on. Look what it's resting on.
What's the rest of it? Cardboard box.
Yeah.
No,
No.
foam.
Foam. Oh,
Simmons
couch
foam,
foam.
Couch cushion.
I'll tell you what, John, you're a revolutionary.
John, did you
I
take
mean,
these? Did you take these pictures, John?
Yeah.
I was just telling Chris the other day. I said, I proudly went and got some foam because I got to ship a piece out, and I was like, oh, I'll have this piece out by Monday, no problem. I've been spending days trying to cut up foam, and it is much more challenging than you would think. So kudos
only
to
that-
you for what you're able to do with the foam.
Not only
John.
that, Jason, but foam is freaking expensive.
Yeah.
It is, and that's why we wanted to be careful not to waste it. But every time I was making cuts, I'm like, it isn't as easy as it looks.
That's why I take a bread knife to derelict caravan sofas. Reclaim lots of it.
It works. I
Yeah,
love
it does
this.
work.
I love this blue kit part on the bottom. This unpainted
Yeah.
blue kit part. When I did my Falcon, I made sure I had to have that part painted like that.
It's such
I
an
haven't
interesting
looked-
little look, such an interesting little detail.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at this in detail yet, but is this was this always on there like this, or was this like
No, that'd have been
something that
knocked
popped
off,
off?
and then they would have cast it and put it on, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And probably put it in the wrong spot too.
No, it's on the right one because you have a matching one on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The underside of this, I'd say the 32-inch is way more weathered underneath than the 5 foot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for the pictures of that.
What do you guys, real quick, before we scroll further, what do you guys think about the interior? Like, I know it's more of a one-to-one, it's a set versus a studio scale, but what do you guys think of those? Do you get into that type of stuff? I mean, I know you guys know I'm into the found parts and whatnot, but do you guys get into that type of stuff or what?
No, I've always just scrolled through it. Even like at
Okay.
Celebration when they had like the sofa. Just sitting
Yeah.
on everything, I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't like the image of Lando and Luke. I do like the image, but I don't like the yellow and black striped warning there.
Yeah.
That's not Star Wars to me.
No.
That's too real world.
That's Alien. Yeah.
And it's completely
I've never been
inaccurate
able
from
to
the model.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been able to figure out where this spot on the model should be. Like, is it part of the corridor? I've never been able to find it.
Yeah, I
Or
think it's
anything
going to be
like
part
it.
of the corridor, but then you see him near the dish on the next picture, laying down
Yeah.
near the dish. That
It's right
dish
next
is
to
quite
the dish.
accurate. They did quite a good job replicating that.
Yeah.
And look, they're
Yeah,
using
that
a
was-
forklift to lift the actors on a circular disc.
Yeah.
That would go
That's-
over today.
No, that doesn't look safe. Yeah.
TIE bomber.
Yay.
TIE bomber.
Very cool design. Just, it's different than any, like, it's different, but it still fits. It's just, this is one of the ones that we got to build very soon.
I don't know if
Is
Stuart
it
Brown's
actually
still taking orders, but I paid off my one. So if
All
anyone's
right, you did a run, right, of the basic parts.
yeah, the basic parts, the box in the middle and the tubes and everything.
Yeah, I wanted to point out a few things on this. I noticed yesterday, John, after we were talking about it, and then I kind of went back in and was looking at. Remember, I told you I believe there to be more than one because one looked like it had the metal section, one looked like it had the acrylic. I also zoomed in on some of the images from the ILM reference photos, and I couldn't tell where there was some pen lines where they drew near the wings. They were darker filled in lines. I didn't know if they were just like, okay, let's put this in for detail, or if they were potentially supposed to be cut lines. I wanted to bring that up later. I'll put it in the group to see what you guys think.
Yeah, well, we've got two people here that have built them. We've got Lee and Marvin that have done them from scratch. So
Yeah, I haven't built it. I started it. It was the first model that I ever started. But something about having a full kit list available that somebody did, I forgot who, years ago. It's hard to keep the motivation if I don't have to put in the work. So I haven't finished it yet. But to your point, Jason.
Maybe you'll carry on if I keep saying, Marvin, what part's this? How did this go
Yeah.
together?
Exactly.
We almost got you back on the sandcrawler, Marvin.
Yeah.
We almost.
Yeah, almost. Soon.
Almost. We'll get you back there.
But Jason, back to your point, when I look at the placement of these pencil lines, and of course they did many pencil lines on this thing when they painted it, just smaller little check marks. If I look at the placement, I would think that this is like panel line detailing. I wouldn't expect this to be cut lines. If you go to that top view and then zoom in on, it doesn't matter which one. So this one on the left. If you zoom in on, now scroll down or up. You can see that. Go down. Down. You
Here
see
on
that
this
pencil
one.
line. Yeah, the pencil line actually matches up with the detail on that side piece. So you see that? There's two pieces glued to the side of the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Here.
and just to the
Here.
vertical tube in the
Vertical.
picture. Vertical tube.
Oh, here.
Yeah, and then you have the pencil lines horizontally.
Yeah. Okay.
And then on the pieces on the side, they actually go in an angle and go up. So this really feels really deliberate as a detail. panel line detail.
And
It's the same on the other side.
one other little thing that I think it was Craig Lee discovered that it's not just two NPC X-wing wings;
Yeah,
it's two of the same wing.
same one.
Yeah.
I think there's a tiny little marking, so you need two NPC X-wings and take one wing out of each to make it.
Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah, right about now is the time they start doing that, where they take parts from their own models.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing we haven't mentioned. Yeah, the fact that they're using all the NPC kits.
Yeah,
And the NPC X-wings, as Marvin said earlier on, about when they go past the Rebel transport.
what was the Slave One model that was used on the Dornian? Is that NPC?
NPC.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love all that dust. I'd recreate that dust just purely because.
All you need to do is leave it in your shop for a little while.
Yeah. Just start overspraying near it.
So what I find interesting about this model is that it works well in the movie, and there's even a few shots that it's kind of, well, it's not close up, but it's pretty well in view on the screen. But this model is tiny, so it's only this big.
Yeah.
And just the fact that works, then why build so many of the other models in such an extreme scale? Like if you see that Rebel transport ship, that's 50 centimeters, something like that, 2 feet, 60 centimeters. It's nowhere near as close up in the movie as this was.
No.
But then you have Cloud Car that's huge, and you see it out the side port of the Falcon.
Exactly. So it gives me the feeling that they had like more in store for those bigger models, like more close-ups or whatever, and that it didn't make it into the movie. So otherwise, you could have built everything like to this smaller scale.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun build. This is going to be a fun build when we get to it. Yeah,
definitely.
It's on the list.
Only thing that's really hard is doing the panel line, the scratch, and
yeah. And I bought the wrong dome from EMA. I bought the clear one, which are awful to scribe, aren't they?
Yeah. Always get the body rate, or what is called ABS, the gray
ABS,
ones. Always.
Yeah, they didn't have any in stock, and I was just worried that was going to be discontinued or out of stock, so I just bought it. So if that comes back in, I think I'll buy that again.
Yeah, if you do that, John, keep me in mind and snatch one up for me, and I'll pay
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like you said, every time anyone orders anything from Glass Trucks, always order. Just ask the group.
Yeah, who needs that?
Yeah, because you might need like one piece, and everybody else needs like one piece. So, it's a pain in the butt, but I understand why they do it. Slave One.
Oh, we don't need to look at this. That's boring. Slave One.
Yeah. What can you say? It's a masterpiece.
The coolest ship from Star Wars.
Yeah, without a doubt, the coolest ship.
Cool from the coolest character that's now been ruined.
And they actually put in like 3 pictures in this book. This is where this book really falls short.
Yeah, this book falls short.
It's criminal that they left so many pictures out.
Yeah.
The Sculpt in the Galaxy has a better picture of it, and
I think it's the same image, but just closer and better. Better, isn't it?
And even the top, like it has a great picture of the top. Like,
there's not many pictures at the top.
Man, I need some of your foam for my stool here, John. Can you send me some over?
Yeah, sure.
My butt hurts. But yeah, this is I'm sure they have pictures. Oh, there's measurements, but like I'm sure they have pictures where they have like, all right, well, this is measurement.
One has paint in it.
Yeah. So let me see that again, John. Let me make it bigger for you.
I was just showing that mine's covered in like maskell at the top there, a ball of maskell, a rubber maskell there. Just wiped it off, and there's some paint. And a £1,000 book just covered in paint.
Well, we didn't buy it for its collectability. We bought it for a reason.
Yeah.
You know?
What's really nice about this model is that it almost to me, it almost feels like it's two different models, but still it meshes well. Because like if you see the top, it's all smooth and all detail is done just by panel lining and paint application.
Yep.
And there's very few like actual kit details on there. And then you get the bottom and it's just layer upon layer of kit detail. And it's just, but it still works together as one model. Yeah.
Every time I look at
Nice.
a picture, this picture or a picture of the bottom, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to start putting this thing together, John.
I know, but look, we've got how many projects do we have on? Like Crawler.
Yeah.
We talked about doing the TIE bomber a minute ago. We haven't.
I make myself a list, okay, and I stick to it. I really do. Like I have to finish this crawler before I jump into this. This will be next. Well, sort of. In tandem with another piece. But like I have to do to keep myself organized and focused a little bit. Like I have to say, all right, I gotta finish this crawler, then move on to slave one. I can't jump around.
Yeah, I mean, me and Marvin have nearly finished the Nib B, haven't we?
Exactly.
So this is something that I've talked about with Jason and thought about a lot. Are these bars that are in the lights? Okay. Man, I want to ask what you guys think those are.
Well, you're the electrician, aren't you?
Well, yeah, that's why I'm asking you guys.
They're not. It's a functional thing, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is.
I thought it was just something to keep it in place. Actually, that's what I always thought.
I feel like
a placeholder that would be made out of styrene, wouldn't it? But metal, copper.
I feel like the bulb is attached to that copper tube. The wire goes through the bulb. The wire goes through the tube, and the bulb is facing the reflector rather than the reflector facing up.
Really?
Yeah, based on like my electrical experience, like there's no other reason why they would do that. Like, why put that in there unless there's something there that they need to like put a wire through and then have the bulb facing down.
Is Guy watching?
Are there bulbs like that? Do bulbs like that exist, or would that be like full on custom job?
That'd be a full on custom job. Yeah, they'd have to. Well,
but they drill through the glass, or is it? Do you think it's a whole bulb flipped the other way up?
You know what? Come to think of it, like thinking about the time period, like I don't know that they would do that.
Yeah, I always thought it was just something to like they put in the bulb from the top, and then they stick that in to just hold it in place. That's what I always thought, and make it out of copper, not out of styrene, because styrene would melt.
Oh, of course, styrene would melt. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. But, maybe Guy would know.
It's interesting.
Yeah, again, Slave One stumps us.
See, here I am actually, like I've been thinking about this for a while, and I'm thinking in terms of modern times, more so than I think of 1970, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to this,
the picture in Sculpting a Galaxy would be better to see that bulb, I think.
oh, they show those bulbs in the Sculpting the Galaxy?
Yeah, it has the whole half side of the bag, doesn't it?
Oh, wait, there's an angle. There's a different angle on
The
it.
whole half side.
The whole half side.
Yeah, the complete half.
The complete half side. I never noticed this picture of it.
It looks like the bulb's been put in backwards.
That's what I'm saying. Like the bulb is reversed, and the bulb is coming from the pipe.
Would you still get light coming through the back?
Probably, but most of it would.
Hasn't it got like a metal foil inside the back?
The filament, yeah. Well, that's time for another discussion.
That's just really confused me and blown my mind that the bulb was put in backwards.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but I don't know why else. I just always thought to myself, why else would you have that copper tube there for other than?
Yeah.
I mean, you could glue it into place. You wouldn't have to have something there to hold it in place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The bulb. There's really no other reason to have that there.
What's behind? There's not any kit parts behind that alley mount, is there? That alley engine.
No.
So you can have it either way, but yeah, weird.
It's weird.
Mm.
Yeah, these are actually really, really cool pictures of this. I mean, there's not a lot of them, but there are, anytime you see a new picture, well, at the time new when they put this out, like other pictures of Slave One, people get really excited.
We got a load a few months back, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we got a couple new ones.
Yeah. I love that image. I love that image.
I have I know I've talked about this before, but I love the yellow and then the reefer white over top. I love that creamy yellow color.
It's got that nice tag underneath it, the archives tag.
There you go. This is a special one. It's red.
Yeah. If Merlin sell 200 Slave Ones, they're going to give that tag away with it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I like that cockpit idea. That's a really great idea, actually, because the cockpit itself is a work of art.
It is. Yeah, it's a model in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, you don't see it well enough to truly do it justice. So if you have it separately, I think it's a nice touch, definitely. Yeah.
This is a really nice, cool picture that you can see a lot of stuff you don't really notice,
Yeah. You can see behind the dish that the F1 part.
Now, was this the dish was a vac form piece?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That's what.
I always wondered that. I know I asked you guys a couple times. So we know, for example, that circular piece was just a custom.
I mean, it looks too thick, too thin to be plastrucked. So I would think may have been pulled over a plaster.
Yeah.
Do we know? Is this engine here? Was this aluminum? Do we think
it looks like it from the inside, doesn't it?
I would expect so, because there's lights in there. Any lights that they would use back then, they would have melted anything other than aluminum. So
yeah,
any lighted engine would have had aluminum in it.
Because when I build mine, I have a cast piece of it. I want to change it to aluminum.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that should be metal or aluminum versus the cast.
Yeah.
Where would the join be? Oh, there's two joins at the top, isn't there? Where it's sort of bent round. How would the aluminum be turned in that shape? Or bent round?
It probably wouldn't be turned. Probably would be CNC'd, I would guess.
Oh, okay. I know nothing about that aluminium stuff.
At least that's what.
Give it to metal.
If I would have, if I would have had it made now, especially because I think it's slanted as well, it probably would have had it CNC'd right now. But to be quite honest, when I build these things, when you guys put your lights in, because you're going to light it up, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Will you be using like old halogen type lights, or are you just going to switch to an LED version of the same?
Well, I forget. I can't credit who it was because I don't know who did it, but they came up with the idea of taking those halogen bulbs, right, and then putting an LED strip behind it. That's what I did on my Nysen kit.
I broke the end off and then put a LED through the glass.
So why would you do that? Because you can buy these LEDs in the same halogen bulb
shape. Okay.
Shape. Exactly.
Yeah, but don't you need like higher voltage for that? Like it's not like a 12 volt.
That's your department. I don't know. But
I guess.
Would they get warm? Would they get warm as well?
No, the LEDs don't. No.
The LEDs don't. No, but the halogen would, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
halogen would get freaking.
You can't touch it.
Yeah.
Do you ever see one of those lamps that have halogen bulbs in it? And you try to touch it, it's freaking hot as hell.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, when putting that LED behind them, you don't see. You can't see like the little circles for the little LED bulbs. like individual ones. It looks really great, actually, on the one that I just did. But all right, so let's move. So this is a life-size X-wing. We got a lot. We've been going almost 2 hours, and I think we got quite a
We're
bit to go
nearly
yet.
done. It's just a
No,
cloud
we're
car.
there, almost done.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah.
Cloud car. Crazy how this is very different. Very, very, very minimum kit parts.
Yeah.
Very. I mean, just what in the middle? Is there anything in the middle even?
There's the Morsicale bits on top.
Yeah.
The 2 Morsicale bits on top.
But other than that,
There's kit
No,
parts
it's-
under the hood as well.
it's
The
the-
shroud.
It's the guns or kit parts.
okay.
There's a little teardrop shape on the side of the body. That's kit
Mhm.
part. And then there's
Universal
something.
Greeblies.
Yeah, universal greeblies on the front, and then there's something around like the cockpit.
Okay.
Brake calipers.
It's insane. It's got to be the least detailed Star Wars model there is. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the skiff. The skiff didn't have any greeblies on it, did it? Well, maybe the underside.
Yeah, around the console only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of my ignorance, but what kit is that Universal Greebly from?
The Hasegawa Leopold, isn't
Okay.
Yeah.
or
All right,
Thor.
well, I have that.
I forget which one, if it's a Leopold or the other one.
Yeah. Just say railgun.
Railgun.
Yeah.
But their heads turned as well, right?
One of them is. Is it? Oh, they turned individually.
Yeah.
You're saying? Okay.
And their hands looked like they were just wrapped up with masking
Yeah.
tape and
If
paint.
you go just a little bit up, and you can actually see them a little bit down. A little bit down.
This one.
Yeah, just a little bit more.
This one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So to the right, you can actually see the motor for the
Yeah, the little
the
landing
movement
plate.
of the cockpit of the pilots.
What is the motor for? To move their heads?
To move the heads. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see the cutout in the cockpit. It's the same Z shape as the thing in the top.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know they had motorized heads, to be honest. Very cool. Nebby.
Yeah.
This thing is a beast. I remember, John, when you first came to me, you're like, I'm just going to do the head. I'm just going to do the head. I'm like, no, you got to do the whole thing. You can't just do the head. Oops. Wrong button.
Well, was it you, Marvin, or was it Lee? I think Lee might have said you can't just do the head, John. The back is so awesome too. And
I said that to you.
yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of people said it to me then. But like most things I do in my life, I need Marvin to guide me through.
Marvin's the hand holder. He walks us through it all, right?
Yeah. For the viewers, you don't know how many late night calls I get. And there's
Leads us into the light.
Yeah.
You get a lot of questions, Marvin.
You do.
You do. It's fun.
I know. I try
Knowledge
to
is power,
most
but
of them.
knowledge is annoying.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
bug you.
so I'm also only going to do the front, and that's because if I say that I'm going to do the whole thing, I'm not going to do it. So I'm just trying to get myself in a position where I have to do the rest as well, because I already did part of it.
But if there's a way to cleanly separate it, metal to metal with a pin or something, a bolt,
Yep.
then that's a way to do it as well.
Yep. That's definitely the way to do it. Yeah.
It's very impressive. I would like
No,
a
it's-
smaller, scaled down version of this, to be honest, but I'm never going to do a big one. Never.
What's interesting about this ship, at least from what I learned from talking with you folks, is that this is a ship that they built in like what, days, no less.
Isn't that like the theory? But I mean, isn't that like
24-hour build.
Yeah, that's something that you said at one point, John. I was like, no, I mean, they took 3 days, I think, to build the escape pod for A New Hope, and that was a quickie build.
Yeah.
Jason, I'm gonna mute you. You got like rapper or something.
It's going to be
Yeah, I'm done. Sorry.
I was thinking maybe 2 weeks, but
Yeah, it's probably going to be. It was probably fast because I mean, let's be honest, it was.
cobbled
There's
together.
there's not much finesse in this model. It's very cobbled together. But that was the concept art as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing of beauty, though, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, it's gorgeous, especially the long bridge.
Yeah.
Just
There's one thing that I really hate about the model. If you go up a little bit, when you see like the picture of the front, is that asymmetric head basically.
Yeah.
And it's not asymmetric in a good way.
this one.
But more like hero side versus non-hero side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish they would have just glued that one hole to the other side as well, just to even that out.
Balancing.
Yeah.
That drives you nuts.
Yes,
though.
you're laughing. I know what you're laughing.
Yeah,
about.
that's
Marvin will
probably
change it.
what I'll do. Yeah, if I do it on my build, I probably will add that
Yeah.
hole because
You blew my mind the other day. You made me question everything that I spent hours building. Like when you showed me yours, I was like, did I mess this up that badly?
That was funny. I saw your mind just being melted.
Yeah, it fell apart. Just completely fell apart. So is that a Vosper right there?
Yeah,
It looks like a Vosper. Yeah,
it is.
very cool.
I like those images. They're cool. Just in an art way. They're just
yeah.
Yeah.
But this isn't a big model. This is a small model. This is for the close-up shots from the for the sick bay
yeah.
Oh,
With the
okay. They
model.
just did like a separate section for the
section.
section.
Yeah.
Okay. That I did not know.
Well, now you do.
That's why we do this, so we can all learn new things.
Exactly.
Okay, don't go any further. Whoa,
No.
that's next week.
That's Jedi. Yeah, that's Empire.
So, what's our conclusion about Empire and this book?
It's very like condensed. Is Jedi longer?
Slave One alone, being in Empire,
Yeah.
the
Slave One
Neb
should have been further.
the Superstar Destroyer, the Attack Walkers, Chicken Walkers. It's just
There's a lot. Yeah.
So looking at I'm remembering what's in Jedi. Like you have tons of pictures of the Dornian, which is this minor background shift,
that's true.
and like 5 pictures of Slave One. That's where it kind of fails. You know?
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel the same way. There's a couple of really great spreads. Some of the models, like that Executor, is just beautiful. But like the Falcon is for me a real miss in this book. The 32-inch Falcon,
Yeah.
and the
Isn't
Slave
there-
One.
Isn't there a bazillion pictures of the A-Wing?
I'll
No.
have to
There's quite a few. Do you know what annoys me is that you don't. That's the only picture you see, I think, of the concept Imperial shuttle.
Hold on, let me put it on.
yeah.
I got it.
If they would bring out a Chronicles with only maquettes and concept models, I would buy that for $1.
Heck yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
Heck yeah. That would definitely be a on the list.
Yeah.
Now, isn't there like I know this doesn't have anything to do with us, but there's a prequel book like this, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's from the original Chronicles era.
Okay.
And it's a lot of CGI stuff. And
Okay.
I bought it and sold it, and I very rarely sell a Star Wars book.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really.
They're
I was
so
hoping to
worth
have
keeping.
loads.
Yeah, it's more clothing and stuff like that.
Oh, there you go.
That's
Marvin's
the
got
one.
it.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
It's the one.
Let me do.
I like it, but it's like you said, it's way more costume and CG stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, they had 1 or 2 really nice actual models in there as well.
Looky here.
Oh, look, here we go.
Absolutely, Lee. We'll be more than happy to have you come on.
Absolutely. Come on.
Absolutely. We'll make it happen, brother.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that was 2 hours that flew by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got one more to do. Well, for the books, I mean, but we can do stuff like this all the time if we want. Like, we could pick a ship and go deep dive into a specific ship.
I think we should do that.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Like, we should pick certain things and just take it and just run with it for 2 hours and just look at all the different sides, talk about it. Everything.
Can we? Because it's the whole thing again about kit part IDs and all that sort of thing. If we choose a ship that people that know relative that the kit parts are out there, then we can talk openly about it. Perhaps, I don't know, something that's been like a Y-wing or something that's been documented on the RPF or something.
Well, we did the Y-wing the other day.
Oh, you did?
Remember?
Yes, true.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Looking forward to your visit, brother. Yeah, I mean, okay. So I have been recently thinking about this, and I'm just like, I realize why people don't share kit parts. I realize it. I do. They don't want people to take their information, run with it, and make money off of it. Like put it in 3D models and then sell it to such and such, and they make thousands of dollars on models.
Yeah.
I'm banging my head against the wall, just I don't know. I'm struggling, because I feel like we could make this hobby better by sharing, but then you got shitheads who do take this information and do things.
Yeah, I think the damage has already been done, hasn't it?
The damage is done.
It's definitely been done. Yeah.
It's been done, and it's still going on today.
Yeah.
It's still going on these days. We don't have to name names, but it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's a shame.
But it's not just it's a couple of things, right? It's somebody monetizing on your work. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But even that, I mean, I know guys that just buy up old models like crazy and scan them in. So we actually have scans to look at and try to find. I mean, for us, to be quite honest, it's a lot of work to find the IDs in known kit donors.
Mm-hmm.
But can you imagine that there's guys out there that are just buying up old kits and just seeing if those are some of the missing donors, like that we don't even know that are donors yet? That costs tons and tons of money, enormous amounts of effort.
It's not just time.
It's time, it's money, it's everything. Yeah.
I understand it. I really do. I do. And I haven't ID'd a lot, and the few that I have, I've put hours into it, just racking my brain.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Yes.
It is a great feeling.
It's an awesome feeling. It's even better. It's still great when you find it on your own, and everybody, all the people who already
knew about it.
Yeah,
but it's still something you didn't know. Yeah.
Something I did.
No,
that's me when I ID.
Yeah. No, I mean that's correct. But I think that's also how it works best in this hobby. If you put in that effort and you find some yourself, then people say or see you do that. For one, they respect the fact that you put in the effort, and two, they see that you actually also enjoy the hunt.
I love it.
And you respect the hunt. But nobody can identify these, or maybe on the smaller concept models like we did for the Executor maquette. That's possible. But these bigger models, if you want to do that just completely by yourself, it's impossible. It'll take you a lifetime to do that.
Yeah. Plus, it always helps when somebody has a different viewpoint on it. Like I might look at something and look at a kit scan or a sprue, and I won't see it. But then Jason or John would look at it and they'll see what I don't see.
Yep.
It's just it does take a lot of work between a lot of different people, and it sucks that it's just.
So to put to people watching that might not understand the dedication it takes to find. Chris was up at 4 a.m. this morning, and he'd been back from a 5-hour drive to New York, and he couldn't put that crawler down. He sat in that garage until 4 a.m. in the morning trying to ID some parts, which I think you've done.
I hope I did. I don't know. I don't know for sure. Like, it's not 100%, but I'm gonna run that by Marvin.
Yeah,
but, like,
but that addiction and time to ID something and then just to give it away to someone.
When you and I were, when I was driving and you were talking, you were texting me things. I'm like, I wish I was home to do this. I don't want to go to work. I want to just be at home looking to see if I have this part in this kit. You know, it's like, and I couldn't go to sleep. Like, okay, to give you an example here, last night it was like 3 a.m. And I'm like, all right, I need to go to bed because I was going to get up today for this, right? I just got home from driving to New York City, there and back. I had 6 hours of driving, right? And I come in here and I'm building this, and it was 3 o'clock. I'm like, all right, I got to go to bed. And then I go out of my garage, I go into my house, my door into the house. I'm about to go up the steps, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. I turn right around, came back in for another hour, and I just had this one little thought that it could be oh shoot, I gotta answer this. Go ahead, talk amongst yourself. I have to answer this.
Well, my phone goes at 5 to 9 my time. And I'm like, Chris, is something wrong? And he's like, dude, are you ready for your mind to be blown? Well, I know this guy doesn't drink. So I don't know what he's doing, but he turns up and he shows me this box inside the crawler of what he's found, and I'm like, "Oh man, that's awesome!" And he's like, "Then it just twigged." I was like, "Isn't it like 4 a.m.?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's 4 a.m." And it was like, you know, I don't know if you can get high on styrene, but Chris,
high on styrene.
That point, yeah,
John, that should be another. That should be another one for the T-shirt. In addition to hide your crimes with the paint, high on styrene.
I might have. What part is that? Question mark.
Yeah. What part is that? I mean, me and Chris one time got super desperate to the point where, you know, talk about like ID and parts. Now it's funny, right? Because here we are trying to ID things that, you know, half the community probably already knows what it is, but we don't know. So like you said, there's that excitement, like, oh, I figured it out. We were going in and like we were using software. We were finding these old gritty behind the scenes photos or photos taken from poor angles, and we were putting it into like modern day software that would like clean it up and get rid of the saturation and sharpen the image and be able to like give us a better view of what we were looking at. And like that's how far deep diving we would go to like figure things out and better understand what we were looking at. But you know, you get to that point where like you start going in so deep that there's no turning back. You know, that OCD and obsessiveness kicks in and you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, and I'm amazed that some people have done all this themselves, like you, Marvin, Lee, Guy, sit back and just build, and then just at the end of it, they've got a B-wing or they've got a crawler, Avenger Bridge, or maquette, or whatever they've designed. I only work with other people. I have to talk to them about what part do you think this is. I know it's a running joke that I'm like, oh, what kit part is that? But the community, the small community behind closed doors. I know it's annoying for the big Facebook groups and everything, but talking to your friends and being able to work out things, you know, like we did the other day, measurements, all that sort of thing, is so helpful with other people. Yeah. Bouncing ideas off other people's, you know, in real time works so well.
We've been jumping online and doing little video chats like this and building things together. You know, like it's invaluable to talk to you guys and be like, yeah, I got it. What do you think this? What do you think this? What do you think this? You can't just do it yourself.
But this is how this model, this hobby works right now. It's like smaller communities of people that are dedicated to building that one model, and everybody's putting their talent and their knowledge in to getting that model done. And for some, that's creating, I don't know, armatures. For the other, that's giving out ideas of what parts could be. Some people just have a keen eye once they get an idea to actually find the part. And you find that in those smaller communities, people are willing to share. Yeah. And that's because everybody in that small community is putting in effort, is dedicated. They're not just collecting IDs for whenever they want to build it, and they just can go from a list. And I think that's kind of how it works now.
I find it strange when I go to the RPF and see old build threads, and people are openly, willingly throwing out ideas and saying, "Oh, I found it last night. It's this." It's strange to read that now. That's how far or backwards it's got of people not sharing information.
Yeah.
That it seems strange to see old threads with people willingly giving away their IDs that they've just found.
Well, people have erased a lot of stuff off the RPF.
Yeah, people's fingers got so burnt that that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Well, think about that.
When they're finished.
Chris, remember we were realizing how many things were missing from the RPF? I even got so desperate with trying to find certain IDs or certain things that, like, I was using things like Stilio and Wayback Machine and, internet sites that would basically grab and screenshot, pages. So, like, if you go back and something is missing, or if, pictures will pull down or things are gone, it's a good trick for anybody that's looking for, missing information. That not all of it's there, but it does crawl and snapshot most of it. So you can go back to something from 2014 that's missing and then now see it recorded somewhere in an archive.
Right.
It's even gotten to the point where it's impossible to find kit scans too. Like, kit scans are valuable as well. Like, there's one place that I know of that I can get some kit scans, and you can't even join that forum anymore. So,
Marvin, I said, Marvin, what kit? Where'd you find the kit scan of that? What? Where's the kit scan? And he went, John, have you heard of some place called the Internet? That was like, point taken. I need to search eBay and all these places that would have pictures that aren't just from that dedicated website.
I remember years ago, I spent weeks of free time just downloading everything from Studio Skill Modelers.
That's what I'm doing now.
And then I found some scans on Resin Illuminati. Then I spent another couple of weeks downloading everything from there. And then every kit that I bought that I didn't have, you take pictures and you add out and you exchange it with people, and you just build that library. And you have to. Yeah,
I've started downloading all that as well, because who knows, that forum may not be there forever. Who knows? No. You never know. So I don't want to lose that tool. And I have a lot of kids, but I don't have nearly as much as somebody who's been doing this a lot longer than I have. I can't imagine going through. A lot of these kits have been picked at already, so it'd be a little difficult to do pictures of these. But yeah, kit scans are valuable. But again, here's the thing: kit scans are important, but there's nothing like you could look at a kit scan for hours. But if you have that in your hand, it's way different. It's
that's what helped me when I did when I did the Avenger. At some point, I just had all these ship kits here, and all the boxes were open, and the amount of IDs that I was able to get just by having the kits in hand was just, I was going through it like crazy, really fast.
That's what happened last night to me. That's what happened last night when I had that sort of like light bulb go off. I opened up a kit and I'm like,
if you're in a contained area of the model, it's a good, it's quite likely that it would come with the 5 boxes that you've got open on the table that have done the rest of that area.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of times where you find the ID just because that kit has already been used on that model.
Yeah.
90% of the time. Like, well, maybe not 90, 75. It's a high likely probability. It's very likely. So I guess we can cut it off there. I'd like to talk to Marvin then after we get off. Thanks guys for joining us. Jason's talking to somebody.
I think Jason's ordering a burger, I think.
Yes. That's like he's in the drive-thru.
Can I supersize that?
Yeah. But thanks for joining, everybody. This is something that all 4 of us are passionate about. Like, I literally spend every day doing this stuff. and
Live, eat,
much-
sleep, and breathe.
I do. It's when I drive to New York, I'm talking about it. When I'm up at 4 a.m., I'm talking about it. When I wake up in the morning, I'm looking to see if there's a message about this stuff. Like it's just
It's widow
crazy how
making.
bad. It is. It's divorce. it cultivates divorce and lack of sex. So. But
On
I
that
appreciate.
bombshell.
Yeah, I appreciate all you guys helping out and joining in for this. We got one more to do for the Chronicles, and I think we might touch it, like deep dive into specific models, going forward. So
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun. But all right, we'll see you guys all next time. And
Episode 6.
yes, episode 6.